Hello, my name is Dee Robinson. It is my pleasure to share with you what I've learned from the experts about domestic violence in Kentucky and its association with pet abuse. I promote human and animal welfare. I promote them together because research has proven interpersonal violence and domestic pet cruelty are connected. 8 years ago, my husband and I retired and moved to Kentucky. Soon after, I took an active interest in domestic pet welfare. Please do not confuse this with the interests of outside radical animal rights activist groups, agencies, or the individuals who support them. I learned there's a big difference. As I researched the issues and found out about the cases of animal abuse in Kentucky, I noticed many were associated with human violence. So I dug deeper. And I found this association has been studied for many years by a number of industry professionals who are highly educated, experienced, and very well versed on this subject. According to Phil Arko, humane educator, chairman of the Latham Foundation's Child and Family Violence Prevention Project, president of the Link Coalition, and from whose research in his monthly publication of the Link Letter I have learned the most from on this topic. Animal abuse must be redefined as a crime against violence, and it must be perceived and documented as a human welfare issue. I've testified 3 times in Frankfurt before our legislators on the topic of the animal human abuse syndrome and the need to strengthen domestic pet legislation. I did this because I believe from all that I've read and researched, if we strengthen the laws that protect our domestic pets, we can better protect vulnerable pet owners. Last year, a 44-year-old Kentucky man had been drinking. He came home and started a heated and threatening argument with his elderly, dependent mother. The woman bent down and covered her head out of fear. She then heard a thump. Her little dog was laying there on the floor dead beside her feet. Her son killed it to punish her. What's going to happen to this woman the next time her son is drunk? Her dog is dead. This year, a 17-year-old daughter told investigators her father got mad at her for not having done the dishes or cleaned the house, so he punished her by shooting her 2 dogs. What's going to happen to this young girl the next time she fails to clean the house to his satisfaction? Her dogs are dead too. It's a known and supported fact that 71% of all animal abusers go on to be senior, child, and or spousal partner abusers. 87% of the abuse incidents are committed in the presence of vulnerable humans the abuser is trying to punish or control. And about 75% of these incidents occur in the presence of children. Up until recently, most of the studies that link animal abuse to human abuse have been researched by leading academic professionals in health-related and sociology fields. But a couple years ago, the FBI began collecting data on the animal abuse crimes because they have now acknowledged that animal abuse leads to crimes against people. The National Sheriff's Association has also taken a pioneering step in recognizing the significance of animal abuse as a potential indicator and predictor of crimes against humans by creating a new committee to focus on animal cruelty issues. Statistics make us keenly aware that the animal human abuse syndrome is real. But until we ask ourselves why more isn't being done about it, and what can we do to address this problem, and then do it, it's hard to imagine there'll be any change if we don't. There will be more statistics, more case studies, more social media accounts of those and their pets who continue to suffer every day. Other advocates, organizations, and citizens sharing a collective outrage for their own issues make themselves known and heard. They are well organized and can be very loud, which makes them very effective in getting their word out to the public which in turn makes us sympathetic to their cause. The number of domestic violence victims in Kentucky who finally seek shelter and can participate in these studies, become part of these statistics, and the reported cases of victims and their pets represents a fraction of those who continue to live in violent homes. Why is there no public outrage on this subject? I see two problems. The first one has no solution. If you're waiting for battered women and partners to march on Frankfurt, don't hold your breath. If you think dependent and neglected seniors will soon organize and demand attention to their plight, it's not going to happen. And if you wonder why the children who live in violent homes where they and their precious pets are continually abused and neglected don't fill the halls of our capital and demand action, you're foolish. It's not going to happen either. These victims are not organized. They are individual human beings who live in solitude and in fear for their lives and the lives of their precious pets that are victims too. They're hardly going to draw public attention to their plight when they cannot even call law enforcement for fear of retribution and further abuse. Most have nowhere to go and nobody to turn to. The second problem is we are not organized. Individuals in government, social work, domestic violence shelters, domestic pet advocacy, and pet rescues are all very passionate about their own issues, but they remain isolated in their efforts. It's up to all of us to come together and to speak out for victims in unison. Work with our legislators, our courts, and industry professionals to find reasonable but effective solutions that will give these victims and their pets hope and let them know that we really do care and are willing to do something on their behalf because they cannot do it for themselves. This we can do.